Hi, this is AJ Janavel with Longer Looks, where we take deeper dives into the stories of the day. Today we're going to be digging into protests in Seattle that have happened throughout the week and the concerns going into the weekend. Today I'm joined by Cassidy Collins. Cassidy is an intern from Washington State University. She was with me today as we were out there. Cassidy, first, thanks for taking the time
Absolutely.
and sit and talk about and what we saw today. I'm excited to hear your point of view and your thoughts and your questions. So before we even get into it, I want to kind of talk about the night before, and that's the protests.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the footage and it was absolutely insane, the firework that went off behind the reporter who was out there,
Right.
and her coughing and those kind of heavy blinks. She was really feeling the effects of everything going on. It seemed hectic, people running everywhere.
Right,
I
right.
would have been scared if I was there.
Right, and what Cassidy is referring to is a video I'm going to show you right now. It's Fox 13 news reporter Jennifer Dowling. And what you're going to see is Jennifer is reporting on the protest that's going on, and in the blink of an eye, in a moment, everything changes. So let's first take a look at this video of Jennifer right on the scene of the protests. Stop it right there, Cassidy. You had mentioned this earlier. That firework, that explosion goes off, and Jennifer kind of doesn't even move.
Yeah, I feel like there must have been, escalation before that for her not even to have reacted. I mean, I know she was on higher ground, so I'm wondering what happened prior that made her have to move up to where she was, kind of get out of the chaos there. I know they had to call in reinforcement police officers from other cities as well, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and Jennifer is just absolute professional. You go out there and you cover these things, and it's just what you deal with. So let's get back to this video. This is immediately after what you just saw, and you're going to see these Seattle bike police officers making their way towards the protesters.
Yeah, Samira and David, we're in the middle of a little bit of chaos here at this time. You can see that police have a line that's formed, and they're coming down through the streets here. And I believe they're using those less lethal rounds to break up this protest and this bonfire. It looks like they are spraying either pepper spray or some sort of mace as well. We have some people that are confronting them, but most of the crowd looks like they're dispersing as this line pushes forward.
So, Cassie, you're taking a look at this video with me as, we're both watching this. We were not there. I'm curious for you. What are your thoughts? Have you been in a situation like this yourself? When you see Jennifer Dowling out there reporting, what are the things that are going through your mind?
I think I've never been in this high stress of an environment before. I've definitely never been in a situation where it's escalated to this point before. So just seeing how she remains calm under pressure, I think is very impressive to me. I think I would panic a little bit, at least at like my point in time as kind of a baby reporter in the industry, but it's really impressive how she remained calm. I am noticing people running around every which direction. The officers kind of like holding their bikes up. I'm not sure if they're using them as shields or to push people forward. It's definitely a scary situation to be in, and I know it escalated quite quickly. Like the protests were peaceful all day long, and then it turns to evening and it turns into that.
Right, and we know that 8 people were arrested in this protest. And another thing that is just so fascinating when you're looking at this video is Jennifer is right there, and you can see the officers are spraying something. She refers to it either as pepper spray or some sort of mace. And she's so close that it starts to affect her, and we have video of again, Jennifer Dowling really in it, in the thick of it, dealing with what's going on. Let's take a look.
Up the block there, along with the police. Oh, and right now we can really get that whiff of that pepper spray. I'm going to step back even, as it's getting a little bit hard to breathe over here, or the mace, whatever they used. Excuse me. Wow, I might have to put my mask on. What location we were at. And that's where this ICE protest ended up. And, excuse me, got a whiff of that mace or pepper spray, even from the street below. So we were above the fray, so to speak.
Yeah, and you can see Jennifer reacting to it. This is 2 different clips. within a few moments of one another, and just the effects of when you are in a situation, and that pepper spray, that mace, whatever it was, it really does affect you and it impacts you. So that was last night. You end up with 8 arrests. Today you and I went out to the federal building, which saw the probably some of the most damage in the city that I'm aware of outside. Let's pull up that video, and I want to hear what your thoughts are when you pulled up and you saw this. What were you thinking?
I think there was even graffiti on there in this video that I didn't even see when I was there in person, like on the bushes and everything. I was kind of shocked, all the expletives used, but I think the message is clear, what they want. And there was people even outside today, a small gathering, protesting what's going on. I think they're really just trying to get their message across, their point across. It's definitely a lot going through my mind because I had never seen something graffitied to that extent.
Right.
I'm from a small town, so that doesn't happen often around me. So being exposed to it was definitely something new. That's why I went around and talked to so many different people. I was trying to hear their perspectives. But many of them were there last night. So just hearing kind of what was going through their mind when that was occurring, and what's going through their mind going forward into the weekend.
Right. And what was interesting to me was, I don't know if you saw the gentleman who was out there cleaning. He had the paintbrush. I was talking to him. He had a tiny amount of paint. He pours it out, and he looks at me. He says, "I don't think I have enough paint." He had a roller that wasn't the right size, so it kept rolling off. And the question that I had was, is this worth it? Because we know that there is an expectation for even more protests coming up, specifically this Saturday. It's going to be the weekend. These protests are going to coincide with a nationwide effort. So I think a lot of people are expecting what we see Saturday to be a lot bigger than what we saw last night.
Yeah, I think I saw him actually go back inside after he got a couple coats of paint on. I didn't see him come back out at least for as long as we were there.
To go get more paint.
Right,
maybe.
to go get more paint, a bigger roller. I saw he put a wooden board up. I think it would be wise of them to maybe board up those windows going into the bigger protests in the weekend. But from what the community was saying around me, they feel that they want it to be peaceful this weekend. Almost every single one of them says they want it to be peaceful. They're putting in efforts to have live music and things like that to kind of keep the mood lighter, is what one individual was telling me.
Right, and that's what the mayor said too. Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell putting out a statement basically saying he stands against Trump's ICE policy, the same thing that these protesters are against as well. So essentially saying he agrees with the protesters in some way, but explicitly saying, I do not stand for destruction or violence. So you're talking about this peaceful nature that a lot of these people are saying they want to see. It will be interesting to see what happens this weekend, because as you can see from Jennifer's video that we were looking at, it can get violent quickly. And if you've ever been out in a situation, all it takes is one instance and things can change. Now I want to ask you something, because you are basically getting into graduate yourself, coming up on graduation. You have the University of Washington graduation this weekend. Thousands of people expect it for that event. There's a protest that's expected on campus as well, coinciding.
I heard that.
On top of that, we're talking about Father's Day weekend, you have Mariners games. That's what we're heading into. So it's not just this protest, but so many events going on in Seattle. What were your thoughts when you were talking to folks, as well as being someone who's kind of on the road for graduation? Imagine your ceremony and that's going on right outside.
I think that makes me nervous. Obviously, the people I talked to today are saying that it's going to be peaceful in nature. Like you said, things can go downhill quickly if one person gets involved and it becomes violent. Then kind of chaos ensues after that, especially if police have to get involved and kind of move people back. I'm just hoping the grads and their families have maybe an alternate route through campus.
Right.
Instead of going right through everything. I hope the University of Washington is prepared and aware of what they're going to do with grads and their families. Because I would be concerned, Beasley Coliseum at WSU is where we hold our graduation. And if there were someone in the middle of road and the road that goes around Beasley Coliseum, and people are trying to get in there for graduation and be almost impossible.
Right. No, I was at a friend's graduation for his school, so the smaller version, and it's busy. It's packed. There are families there. There is everyone from out of town visiting. So when you have people from out of town going somewhere, and the possibility of road closures, which police are warning about because of the protests, because of the marches, on top of any other disruptions that might happen over this weekend, it's something that if anyone's coming into town, they should be aware of.
They should be aware of. And, you know, it concerns me, like, what if someone misses their walk for graduation? They're in the car, there's a road closure, they can't find an alternate route, and they miss their walk. I feel like that's such an important moment, and I would really feel for them in that situation.
Yeah, you got to plan ahead.
Yeah.
Well, what we are going to be doing as we move forward towards the weekend is definitely keep an eye on what comes out of the possibility of these protests on Saturday. Cassidy, thanks so much for taking some extra time after the day to hang out with me even longer and talk about our story. For more longer looks where we dig deeper into the stories of the day, make sure to keep an eye out for these podcasts. Thank you so much.